Before we jump into this video, I just want to quickly say I'm pretty ill at the moment. I have a bad cold, so if my voice sounds a little bit different, that's why, but I still wanted to get these patch notes out to you. Hey all, so we have the patch notes for version 2.1.0, the balance update that we've been expecting at the midpoint of the season. In this video, I'm going to aim to go through every single one. I'm not going to be sharing too many of my personal thoughts in this video. I plan on doing that in other separate videos, especially so I can have more time to think on things, but I still hope you'll find all this information really useful. Specifications for some main weapons have changed. Aerospray MG and Aerospray RG. Increase the terrain area inked by falling spray has been increased by about 10%. Jet Squelcher. Reduce blur when firing on land by 17%. Splatter Shot Nova. The size of terrain area inked by shots has been increased by about 19%. Dynamo Roller. The damage rate reduction caused by distance has been adjusted. You can now cause 50.0 damage / 100.0 damage from further away than before. Big Swig Roller. The minimum damage from horizontal slices has been increased from 30 to 35, meant to say slashes there. Bamboozler 14 MK1. Reduced ink consumption by about 17%. Nautilus 47. Increased firing duration by about 15%. Sloshing Machine. Increased ink consumption by about 10%. Specifications for some sub-weapons have changed. Angle Shooter. Damage has been increased from about 30.0 to 35.0. The radius of ink coverage when striking terrain or opponents has been roughly doubled. Specifications for some special weapons have changed. Tacticooler. Tacticooler's quick respawn and special save will no longer be negated by gear abilities Respawn Punisher and Haunt. Respawn Punisher and Haunt effects increase in respawn time and increase amount in special gauge loss still occur. Reef Slider. Adjusted the amount of time for the invulnerability window which occurs after exploding until you are able to move. Triple Ink Strike. Increase the radius of the area damaged by about 10%. Increase damage inflicted by about 50%. Crab Tank. So a lot of people are expecting some kind of adjustment to Crab Tank. You have to let me know down in the comment section what you think about this change. Shorten the duration of the Crab Tank when not using the special power-up gear ability from about 9 seconds to about 8 seconds. Increase the extension rate of the duration of the Crab Tank when using special power-up gear ability. As a result of these changes, the duration of the Crab Tank when maximizing use of the special power-up gear ability remains the same as before. Points required for some weapon specials have changed, so here you can see a nice little list. The performance of some gear abilities has been changed. Ink Splash will no longer be invisible for 3/6 of a second immediately after transforming into Kid form. Using the gear ability Swim Speed up at the same time will no longer result in one of these abilities being cancelled. While using Ninja Squid, swim speed will continue to be reduced by a fixed amount. This update focuses on adjustments related to battles. A lot of the adjustments to main weapons were made to lessen the impact on some of the weapons from Splatoon 2, where the increased performance of the gear ability was negated in Splatoon 3. Regarding changes to Ninja Squid, while mitigating the issue players would lose sight of each other when shooting at each other from a relatively short distance, we're also intentionally maintaining the way to approach opponents with longer ranges. We reduced the amount needed to fill special gauges for some weapons, and within that group strengthened some frequently used short-range weapons to increase player options. We increased the amount needed to fill special gauges for some weapons, and within that group, curtailed somewhat the tactic of using sub-weapons and special weapons to attack from a distance. We also made some adjustments to increase the manifestation of special weapons. The next update will focus on new features and weapons balance for the start of the new season in March. The update is planned for the end of the current season. Now let's jump into the bug fixes. Fix an issue that allows players to climb through unclimbable walls when using the Squid Surge and Squid Roll at the same time. Fix an issue where if you are submerged in ink on a wall and move to any ground of a certain angle and continue to move while submerged, your movement speed is reduced. Fix an issue where shots fired from a blob lobber at a tower or other moving terrain features would hit and disappear rather than hit and rebound. Fix an issue where when a player is moving or jumping with an open umbrella, the area being protected from incoming ink is about 1/6 of a second behind where it appears to be. Fix an issue where when a player lands with an open umbrella, they are stunned and the umbrella seems to sink into the ground. Fix an issue where the area being protected from incoming ink by an open umbrella is slightly to the left or right of where it appears to be. Fix an issue where the animation of opening an umbrella to protect from attacks happens slower than the actual defensive effect begins. Fix an issue where the animation of closing an umbrella during the umbrella opening animation was not displaying smoothly. Fix an issue where attacks to the rear of the Crab Tank, like Ink Storm, bounce off when the tank is in walking mode, even when directly striking the player. Fix an issue where after having used the inkjet or zipcaster without once touching the ground, the player lands in an unintended location. Fix an issue where the wave breaker immediately vanishes from other players' screens if the elevation of its placement is close to the waterline. Fix an issue where if the wave breaker is placed at a specific elevation, its waves do not display in adjacent lower spaces within the area of effect. Fix an issue where if the wave breaker is placed at a specific elevation, adjacent lower spaces may or may not come within the area of effect due to slight differences in position by slightly increasing the area of effect in the lower area. Now let's move on to some changes to multiplayer. Fix an issue where if you ink certain parts of the terrain in Ilto Alley Roller, it causes a slowdown in the game. Fix an issue where when playing Rainmaker mode in Hagglefish Market that caused the score to not change smoothly in certain areas. Fix an issue with the different modes in Undertow Spillway that prevented you from being able to submerge in ink in certain areas, regardless of whether they were inked or not. Fix an issue when playing Rainmaker mode in Museum di Alfonsino that caused the score to not change smoothly in certain areas. Fix an issue that allowed you to climb unintended walls in Inkblot Art Academy. Fix an issue when playing Splat zones in Mahi Mahi Resort that prevented players from properly placing a Tacticooler in certain areas, and prevented the player who tried to place it from being able to properly stand on the stage's terrain. Fix an issue where when playing Rainmaker mode in Sturgeon's Shipyard that caused the score to not change smoothly in certain areas. Fix an issue that allowed you to climb unintended walls in Wahoo World. Fix an issue in Wahoo World that allowed you to jump from an ink rail into a spotlight. Fix an issue in Brinewater Springs that caused trees in front of you to not display as transparent. Fix an issue when playing Splat Zone / Tower Control / Rainmaker / Clan Bits modes in Brinewater Springs that caused the score to not change smoothly in certain areas and don't retreat to be displayed even if you weren't retreating very much. Fix an issue in Brinewater Springs and Flounder Heights that caused ink fired from up high to disappear before hitting the ground. Fix an issue when playing Splat Zone / Tower Control / Rainmaker / Clan Bits modes in Flower Heights that allowed you to jump from an ink rail onto a water tank. We also have a few fixes for Salmon Run. Fix an issue where if a communication error occurred at a certain time while the big run results being announced, you'd be able to get a decoration but not the corresponding badge. If you were affected by this issue, you'll be able to obtain your badge after applying this update data and restarting the game. Fix an issue that caused ammo stocked up in the Snipe Rider 5H to vanish after depositing golden eggs or shooting them from a big shot launcher. Fix an issue that prevented bombs launched by a steelhead to disappear properly when the steelhead was defeated by dealing damage to its torso. Fix an issue in Marooner's Bay during low tide that made it difficult to ink over a flipper flopper's area of attack if it tried to dive close to the water's surface. Fix an issue in Marooner's Bay that caused a slowdown to occur if players or salmonids came into contact with certain terrain. Fix an issue where if you saved the job scenario with Grizzco weapons and played it again as a private job, different Grizzco weapons will be supplied instead. Changes to story mode. Fix an issue where when selecting weapons on a stage and switching from umbrella to another weapon, the umbrella will not work properly. It may not launch, or it may not protect from enemy attacks. Other changes. Fix an issue in Recon where the game controls would not work after trying to start a turf war and photo mode at the same time when playing with multiple people. Fix an issue in Recon where when playing with a timer and the player was splatted, the photo pose would remain as if the player posed if specific procedures were performed. Fix an issue in Recon where when playing with a timer and the player was splatted, the countdown number would not display. Fix an issue where after having failed to save a job history at the Grizzco terminal, the list of completed jobs would not display properly. Fix an issue in shops where after pressing certain buttons at the same time, some controls would not work. So yes, lots of important adjustments and changes in this update that I'm sure the community is going to have lots of thoughts on. Definitely leave some of those down in the comment section below. If you made it to the end, be sure to comment Splat Gang down below so I know you did. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, and if you haven't already, consider subscribing and turning on notifications for more.